Plot of line ABCD has the measurements DC 180 meters, DB 140 meters, and angle A, which is equal to 62 degrees as shown in the diagram. So we have this diagram here. And here they want us to calculate, given your answer correct to the nearest whole number, the length of BC. And so we have BC right here, this length. That's the length that we're trying to figure out, the length BC. Now, in order to do this, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to label our triangle. So we call this side angle, we call this side A, we call this side B, and we call this side C. Now C is the hypotenuse. That is the side that is opposite. That's the side that is opposite the right angle. And so that's what C is. And that's the side that we need to find. We need to find the length BC, right? Now we label this so that we can efficiently use the Pythagoras theorem, which states that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, where c is the hypotenuse, and a and b, sides a and b, are the lengths of the other sides of the triangle. And so we have is that a is 140, b is 180, okay? And so we have 140 squared, which is 19,600. We have 180 squared, which is 32,400. And so we have c squared is equal to 19,600 plus 32,400. We're going to add this sum. And when we add it, we get 42,000. When we add the sum, we get 52,000. And so we have that c squared is equal to 52,000. Next, we're going to take the square root of both sides. We cancel this with this, and we left with c is equal to the square root of 52,000. What is the square root of 52,000? That's 228.035085, and that's what is the square root of 52,000. And so that's what we have, but we want to give our answer correct to the nearest whole number. And so we notice that this is 0, and since this is 0, once it's less than 5, we cannot round up, and so we just have to leave it as 228, and that's what BC is. BC is 228. That's the length BC. Next, we have to figure out what is the size of angle BCD. Now, angle BCD. Now, where is angle BCD? Well, we have B, we have C, and we have D. And so we have angle C, which is right here, okay? And so we're gonna call that theta. And so this is theta, and so we have the side that is opposite theta is called the opposite side, and the side that is opposite the right angle is called 228. I'm sorry, the side that is opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse, but its measurement or its size is 228 in length, 228 meters. And then, so we have the opposite side, we have the hypotenuse, and the side that is left is the adjacent side, which is 180 meters. Okay, so we have all three side lengths, which means that we can use any one of the three trig ratios, but we're going to use, for this question, I'm going to use the opposite side and I'm going to use the adjacent side. And I'm going to use those two sides because they were given. Those are the sides that were given, all right? I'm not going to use the side that we had to find out. It's just safer to use the sides that were given. And so since we're using the sides that were given, the opposite side and the adjacent side, that means that we will use this trig ratio, which is tan, because tangent incorporates the opposite and the adjacent. And so that's the trig ratio that we will use. Again, we could use any one of the three ratios and it will work, but I'm going to use the one that uses the opposite and the adjacent. Now, what is the opposite? Well, the opposite, according to our diagram, is 140 meters. The adjacent is 180 meters. And so we have tan theta is equal to 140 divided by 180. We take tan inverse of both sides. And so we cancel this tan inverse with tan. And so we get that theta is equal to tan inverse of 140 all over 180. And so we get that the theta is equal to, what is tan inverse of 140 divided by 180? Well, that's 37.87498365. But we have to write our answer correct to the nearest whole number. And so that means that, notice that we have 8 here. Since we have 8, we round up, because once it's 5 or greater, you can round up. And so that means that we add 1 to 7, and so that's going to give us 38. So theta is going to be equal to 38 degrees. And so that means that angle BCD is indeed 38 degrees. Next, we have, so indeed, do not forget to write the angle symbol. So angle BCD is equal to 38 degrees. Now, we have to determine in this question the length AD. Notice that AD is right here. All right, that's what we're trying to find. And what we're going to do is we're going to zero in on this particular right angle triangle. Here, theta is the given angle, and the given angle is 62 degrees. And the side that is opposite the given angle is what we call the opposite side, which is, in this case, of length 140 meters. And the side that is opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. And the side that's left is the adjacent side. Now, so let me just write the word adjacent, all right? Or at least an abbreviation for that, adjacent, ADJ, all right? So this third side right there is the adjacent side. Now, notice that we want to find what the hypotenuse is. That's what we want to find out. But we know what the opposite is. Again, we want to find out what is the hypotenuse. That's AD. And we know what the opposite is. So these two sides are going to be incorporated in, these two sides are going to be used in answering the question. And so that means that we have to use a trig ratio that has these two sides, the opposite and the hypotenuse. If that's the case, then we have to use sine of theta. We have to use that trig ratio. And sine theta is the opposite over the hypotenuse, where the opposite in this case is 140 meters. Theta is 62 degrees, so we plug that in. And x, well, x is the hypotenuse because we don't know what that is, and so that's the missing side. We put sine of 62 over 1 because we want to cross multiply. And so what we have here is x times sine 62, and it's equal to 140. Why 140? Because 1 times 140 is simply 140. What we're going to do here is we're going to divide both sides by sine of 62. And so let me put that here. In fact, it's right there. So we divide both sides by sine of 62. So we put sine of 62 here and sine of 62 there. And that gives us the opportunity to cancel out. So we cancel this and that. So we left with x is equal to 140 divided by sine of 62. And so we have x is equal to 140 divided by sine of 62. So we have to perform the division. And when you divide these two, you get that x is equal to 158.559807. And so, but we're not done yet because we have to write our answer correct to the nearest whole number. And so what we have here is we have a 5. And so since we have a 5, we could round up. Once it's 5 or greater, you can round up. And so this is, we add a 1 to the 8, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And so we have that AD is equal to 159. And so that's the length of AD, 159 meters. And that's the answer to this question.